Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alex Hormozy once said that heroes and villains share the same backstory. Villains say, the world hurt me, so I'm gonna hurt it back. Heroes say, the world hurt me, but I wanna make sure it hurts no one else. Both experience pain, both bear scars, but heroes exercise beautiful patience to pivot into a positive direction. Not too long ago, I experienced my biggest pain. A lady called my law office. Her boyfriend had been hit by a car while he was on his motorcycle. I go to their house. His mother opens the front door. Guiding me down a narrow hallway, in the living room lays a man in a bed with his leg heavily bandaged and braced. And it would be my responsibility to help this man. But to understand the gravity of this situation, I first have to tell you about my childhood. My story begins with a name most people mispronounce, even though I heard it done correctly. Ibrahim Awad. And when my family first immigrated to the United States, I remember my dad staying with my first grade teacher for 3 whole days because I could not speak a word of English. In fact, on the 4th day, my dad gave a list of transliterated Arabic words to my teacher so that she can speak to me in Arabic. To make matters worse, during Ramadan, the holy month of fasting, I would go into the classroom with my classmates or into the cafeteria with my classmates, but without a tray of food in front of me. They would all look at me puzzled, teasing me, giggling, and I remember my teacher's eyes that twinkled with empathy, seeing all my classmates eating around me. So she sequestered me to the library so that I wouldn't be irritated by them or the smell of food. Honestly, I would have rather been teased in the cafeteria than tossed in the library. But that isolation did allow me room to pray. My family prayed regularly 5 times a day, but I found sincerity in the seclusion. Prayer was practicing patience. There's a physicality to the Muslim prayer. It involves bowing and prostrating, putting one's forehead on the ground. This act of total submission silences the voices of creation. And every day, twice a day, my dad would take me and my brothers to our local mosque to offer our morning and evening prayers. The teasing that could have broken me bent me deeper into prostration. But new levels bring new devils. The teasing turned into bullying. I remember having chocolate milk poured on me in school. I remember being picked on in the bathrooms, and I remember Alex, my childhood bully, who beat me up religiously. I remember specifically his feet catching up to me. Alex is faster than me. He grabs me by the shirt and he punches me in the face. I raise my arm, stop, please. But no one hears me. Alex was in my nightmares for years. Prayer doesn't stop you from being pummeled. So when my dad could no longer bear the sight of me coming home crying day after day, he enrolled me and my younger siblings into martial arts. The hands that pressed against the ground in prayer were soon wrapped with canvas gloves. The trauma from bullying was repurposed. The pain became fuel for my training. Pain became a matter of perspective. When I went to law school, I experienced a new kind of pain. long nights, endless reading, the mental strain of constant competition with my fellow classmates. But I was already well trained in that on the mat, pain was not a signal to stop. It was a reason to push forward. Every drill, every sparring ground, every kata taught me how to keep going when my body said it couldn't. When I graduated law school, I embarked on a new path. I opened up my law firm immediately out of law school inside my younger brother's car audio shop. You can get your sound system installed and your speeding ticket handled all under the same roof. It was truly your one-stop shop for all your loudspeaker and legal needs. A few years into my practice, I branded myself as the karate attorney, representing people who had been harmed of no fault of their own. Got hit? I'll hit back. Legally. And after one particular trial, my client looked up to me and said, "You talk good. Can you talk at my mosque?" I had never given sermons at the mosque, but naturally I decided to pivot to the pulpit on Fridays, untangling legal phrases like pain and suffering. From an Islamic perspective, there is a spiritual prescription for pain. It's called beautiful patience. Sabrun jamil in Arabic. Beautiful patience is not allowing the pain to ferment into bitterness or suffering. For example, sabrun jamil is the response of Prophet Jacob, peace be upon him, when his children lied about the disappearance of their younger brother Joseph. He knew of their deceit, and he was still subsequently deprived of the company of his beloved son Joseph, yet he remained hopeful. He did not push his other children away. He remained prayerful that one day they would all be reunited. They say everything in life is either a gift or a test. Beautiful patience recognizes that even the test is a gift. You know that man that was all bandaged and broken? It was Alex. Somehow, every trace of resentment I had in my body for him for all those years had disappeared. The villain would have sought revenge. Instead, after all of those years when he came back to ask me for help, the only response that was appropriate is an embrace. I actually hugged him. I hugged Alex. It was the only gesture that was appropriate and could treat years of my own trauma. The opportunity to represent Alex led to a breakthrough. Pain without patience pushes us down, causing us to punish others. But beautiful patience lifts us up, causing us to rise together. Looking back, being bullied was the best thing that happened to me. But only if we're able to interpret our trauma as a source of our strength, not weakness. Sometimes practicing patience means stepping into the unknown. As when Prophet Moses, peace be upon him, was being chased by Pharaoh, he did not surrender at the edge of the sea because of the uncertainty. He pivoted and stepped into it, and the sea split. The courage in that stride runs through my blood. Both of my parents are Palestinian. My mother was born in Gaza in 1965. When I tell people I'm Palestinian, 1,000 thoughts probably race through their minds. Had my mother not left Gaza, I could have easily been one of the tens of thousands of Palestinian children buried beneath the rubble of their own homes. For years, I had spoken with my good friend Sean, a fellow criminal defense attorney, about the plight of the Palestinian people. Over 70 years of dispossession, killing, dismemberment, forced evictions, and people being buried alive. And yet, none of these seemed to stir him as much as one particular video. Israeli suffocation forces had stormed a home in the dead of night, waking up and interrogating 3 small children. No one was actually physically harmed in the video, but to him, this unjustifiable intrusion into their most precious of spaces was a violation. Without cause, without a warrant. It wasn't the bloodshed that broke through to him. It was seeing himself in that 9-year-old Palestinian boy. It was this empathy due to this subtle indignity that pierced his conscience in a way that mass murder somehow had not. The scale of horror overseas is unrelatable. But the smaller humiliations, those resonate universally. And I wouldn't have understood this had I not practiced beautiful patience in every conversation that I had with him. This insight led me to create Palistory, a nonprofit organization that is committed to telling the stories of those subtleties, capturing the quiet courage of a people that endure the unendurable, not to make you pity them, but to help you see yourself in them. Because that's what it's all about. Heroes and villains share the same backstory, but heroes heal by refusing to let others bleed as they sew up their own wounds. Alex, he's back on his feet. We won his case, but not a moment was spent talking about he was the cause of my childhood trauma, because the truth is, he is the cause of my martial arts mastery. He is the cause of my law school discipline, and he is the cause of me becoming the advocate that you see today. Bitterness is easy. Revenge may be instinctual, but beautiful patience, that's divine. So the question that I leave with you isn't about me, it's not about Palestine, it's not about our childhood bullies and blessings. It's about you. When the next painful moment comes, and it will you let it harden your heart? Or will you practice sabrun jamil, beautiful patience? Thank you.